My name is Tiana, and I'm 100% certain that I've been hurt. Hi, my name is Tiana. I'm 16. I'm a student, and my major is graphic design and marketing. So, when everything was all said and done, I had filed a police report, the entire situation. I was sort of taken aback and wanted to reevaluate what had truly happened to me. And I was thinking, well, was this the right thing to do? Did I really feel like I was hurt in this situation? And so, going over my situation again with my therapist, I had traced it back to its roots. So, this person I had met at my high school. I was an incoming freshman, or I was already a freshman, and I had met them at school, and I suppose it was just any regular high school friendship, just another person I was meeting. It was a few times this person was very questionable in the sense that, well, they're already older than me. That's one thing to begin with. This person would just say questionable things, but I think a freshman looking up to an upperclassman, I just wanted to respect them, and also I thought, wow, like, they're so cool, like an upperclassman wants to be my friend, just things of that sort. I mean, this person really became my best friend. I really genuinely loved and cared for him, and I think that's another reason why I found it so difficult to talk about it or ever even think of reporting it, because this was someone that at the time, I thought I knew them, and at the time, it was just they're not a bad person, they just do some bad things sometimes, so I'll just dismiss it because they still love me, because they say they love me every day, and after a while, it just became very hard to believe that, because they would say that they loved me, but they wouldn't truly show me that they loved me, or there was no genuine care for me. So I think that's one thing I failed to recognize, just because it's one thing for someone to tell you that they care about you, and it's another thing for them to truly show it, and for you, the person receiving the affection, to also understand that this person does genuinely care for me. However, it's very easy to be manipulated in that sense. We had been friends for about 2 years, and he had never shown romantic interest in me, but he still felt a sort of sense of authority, or I suppose a sense of, what's the word? Control, sort of like he owned me in a way, and it wasn't very physically manipulative at first. It was very emotional, which is something that I entirely failed to recognize. It was that I had a romantic interest, and felt like if he didn't approve of it, I would just drop the entire thing and just be his best friend all over again. Because me and this person who had assaulted me, we were best friends. We hung out every day, and again, I genuinely loved and cared for him. But when I tried to branch out, meet new people, and just try and not be with him for once, he would be very angry and upset and just say things like, "How could you do this to me?" And "I thought we were best friends," and just going on and on about how, I love you so much. I just cannot believe that you're being such a horrible friend, and things of that sort. But afterwards, I had just tried to just be like, I do not want to talk to you at all ever again. And he would just get very, even more emotional and manipulative. What happened to me was not rape, but it was sexual assault. This person had done things to me that I did not want, and for that reason, it's plausible to be called assault, because if I had said no even once, which I had, but it had still happened to me, then that in itself is assault. And so, still being friends with this person after everything had happened, it felt very confusing, and I felt like I had no sense of myself or who I was anymore. So, entirely dropping this person and working on myself and healthy coping mechanisms, reporting everything that had happened is extremely helpful. However, although I go through all this, I go through proper procedures, I work with Wake Up Stand Up, I don't feel that I've fully recovered from the situation. So I don't think there's one set of rules that I can follow to just fully recover from everything. But after all has happened, I feel like I have recovered just a little bit. After everything that's happened, definitely emotional. I found myself not understanding if it's just being a teenager and the different amounts of hormones and just being very over dramatic a lot of the time. But I found myself being very fatigued and just very tired, and overall just a general more amounts of sadness than what would be typical in a teenager, considering that I've taken psychology classes saying this is what's normal versus what I've been experiencing. So I've just been able to recognize that through therapy as well. When I was younger, I used to be very outgoing, and I'm sure if you ask any of my friends now, I'm very outgoing and always very happy and just the person to look to when you want just inspiration or anything of that sort.
Tiana, can I stop you? Can you rephrase the question in part of your answer?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like short answer.
All right. Ever since the assault happened, I've changed my demeanor a lot. If you ask anyone around me, I'm very happy and energetic all the time. However, I don't think people recognize that this isn't part of the attack that happened, simply because when you're just with your family or with your friends, like, we all hug each other, we're very like close connected, but I've never felt entirely comfortable since the attack. So I've just been very weary of those situations, and I purposefully do not hug people or let people touch me for that reason, but no one really understands or knows why, but it's just something that I've tried to keep on the low key for a while. I believe that rape culture is it's a very misconstrued term for sure. I think that whenever someone says no and then an act is performed or anything of that sort against their will, that's automatically falls under the category of rape culture. And I think it's very important that people understand that one simple verbal no can lead to a multitude of results and actions that should never have been there in the first place. So I think experiences that will push a survivor away. I wrote a speech about this. What was in the speech and what I've experienced as well is just that there's a lot of victim shaming alongside victim blaming, which basically the shaming of the victim is when the victim feels shameful for the acts that have happened to them, and because people around them may believe the act, may believe the story, but they may not support them through the process, and surrounding people have been very skewed in their perspective of the situation and blame the victim with things saying like, why would you want to have sexual relations with this person, or why would you even do that? It's seen as the victim's fault for partaking in those actions. And then alongside with victim blaming, it's just seen that it's the victim's fault because, again, like, why would you do that with this person? Like, it's your fault for putting yourself in that situation.
You also said something about if a person has already had sex before, they get blamed. Did you say that the first time?
Yeah, I think it was that if someone already has like relations with this person that they're having sexual acts with, but then if they were to say no a separate time, it would sort of be viewed as, well, you've already said yes before, why are you saying no now? And it's sort of the expectation like, well, you've done it before, so it's your fault for not doing it the other time. I think when someone tells you about a sexual assault that happened to them, it's very important to listen as well as report the event. I know one thing that people struggle with when they hear assault that happened, they don't want to make the victim feel like, oh, I'm betraying my friend because I'm reporting it, or I'm betraying whoever it may be because I want to take action. Because when it was my situation, I would confide in literally nobody, and it would be very vague sentences, very vague times here and there. Like, I was very stressed, very fatigued because this had happened to me, and I myself did not feel like I could take action, but people around me proved to be my voice, which had helped a lot because I know that I would not have been able to report this or go through this entirely by myself. When I reported everything that had happened to me, I expected to feel this immediate sigh of relief and just sort of rejoice. However, when everything was said and done, I just felt extremely exhausted and very tired and sort of like it was just an average day. So I strongly suggest whatever the proper therapy or proper healthy coping mechanisms may be, because I understand it's different for everybody. For myself, that was surrounding myself with loving family, loving friends, and regularly attending therapy, which has proven to be very helpful for me. However, I understand it's different for all victims, but I think surrounding yourself with the correct form of positivity in your life will definitely help, because it is not a quick healing process for sure. So through the whole reporting process and just everything that's happened, obviously my family and my school has gotten involved. However, one thing that I found distracting is when I'm pulled out of classes, or a counselor or a teacher will pull me to the side to go and speak about the healing process and to speak about where I'm at currently, because I know this for a lot of other people as well. When you're at school, because we're teenagers and some of us may have jobs, but when you're at school, it's basically work. You're there to work, get everything done. You're there to focus so you can get good grades, get into college, everything. But when I'm pulled out of class to talk about this, I don't feel like it's a beneficial use of my time, because they'll send me somewhere to go talk about it for maybe even like an hour or so, which is like, of course they're doing their best to just help me, but I think it's important to understand that I do have family and outside of school therapy helping me, and so I appreciate all that the school has done, but I do find it very distracting to be out of class and not working when it could be. One thing I find very distracting, especially in the school environment, is not necessarily speaking about the situation, but just being called out of class to go speak about it, go do the therapy, go get help, because most times it's a phone call to class, or it's a yard supervisor bringing in a note saying so-and-so has to leave, and then it's my teacher and they're walking across class, or if it's a big classroom, they're sort of like, oh, Tiana, where's Tiana? And then they have to go be like, oh, go to the office, so-and-so has called you. And I find it very disruptive, and it disrupts the entire class. And then I have to go speak about the situation, and then I have to come back to class, and then people are like, are you in trouble? And it's just very, I've sort of told myself to just prep for it and plan for it in my school day, because it basically happens on the daily. I think it's really important for people to recognize that just anyone who may be in the same or a similar situation, it's extremely important to recognize where there's wrongs. And in that, I mean, if someone is telling you that they love and care for you and all this and that, if they're not genuinely showing you, then you truly need to recognize that. And although it's easier said than done, it can be done, which is why there's so many survivor stories that go around. There's people who realize the wrongs that have been done to them, and so they then take action and start to work for themselves, which is another point I'd like to make, is that it's not your fault for what had happened to you, but it's extremely important that because it's happened, you need to take action, not for anyone else, not for family or friends or anything. It's important for you to take action for yourself, because if you just feel as though you want to talk about it because it will help others around you, but it's not helping you, then in the end it won't truly help anyone. And it's very important to just keep in mind that you are the main person affected by this, and whatever will help you the most, you definitely need to go for and understand that.